I always pound on the table just because I live with an Italian. I just wanted to come on and try to put my nose into this volatile situation. I feel so bad about this whole situation with Elyse Morgan. I feel bad that she felt attacked. And I feel bad that people are getting attacked based on how they reacted to Elyse's video. First off, I will say, if you have not seen it and you think you want to comment on this video, go watch Elyse's video first. It's Wild Moon Woman. It's the only video she has left on her thing. She has turned her life on a different path, and she has chosen to become, I guess my impression is it would be like an evangelical type Christian. And so there has been some reaction within our little community. And first of all, I want to say that I hope Elyse understands that I think the initial reaction that we have as human beings is that knee-jerk reaction of hurt. It pains us that we feel like we're kind of losing you in the community, because we all loved your videos, for one thing, and the way that you looked at the tarot and the insights that you gave other people. So it's a loss for us. It's almost like, you know, losing someone in the community. It's almost like a death, so that it's going to be a process. It's a process for you. It's going to be a process for us as a community. To process that loss is, you know, a loss to us. And that doesn't mean it's a loss to you. Obviously, you have started down this path that you have found great things with. That is awesome. But as a human being, when we lose anything that we have loved and adored, the knee-jerk, the initial reaction, of course, is going to be pain, and pain creates different things to different people. So the initial reaction is kind of like, oh, you're hurting me because I'm losing you. I know for us as pagans, or as people who believe in connections of the universe and metaphysical principles and that kind of thing, and tarot is how the tarot works, and, you know, however your path goes, if you're part of the tarot community, then you somewhat at least believe that there are some metaphysical things going on in the universe that have these connections, and one of the ways that we can look at those connections is through the tarot. And a lot, probably 80–90% of those of us who have, one second, just making sure I didn't have a patient. Those of us who have started down this earth-based, metaphysical-based, pagan-based path, started out as Christians ourselves in some form or another. And because we did not find what we were looking for on that path, when someone then chooses that path from the path that we are on, I believe automatically we kind of go, what, are you crazy? Because that's not what works for me. Part of why we chose this path, though, is because we didn't want other people to tell us how to walk our path. Now, there is some debate on whether Elyse kind of did that in her video. And I know, again, it's like a knee-jerk reaction. And I've talked about before on my channel that sometimes it's hard for me. I really have to rein myself in. I tend to really try to separate out quote-unquote Christians. To me, there are Christians that I absolutely get along with and have no problem with, and they are the people that do their best to walk their own path and allow me to walk mine. And it's harder when you get into that gray area of, are you telling me how to walk my path? Because again, that's kind of why we strayed, or a big reason why we strayed from that path for us was I didn't want the judgment and trying to tell me how to walk my path and that kind of thing. And I think part of, unfortunately, inherently, for a lot of the church, and not necessarily the Christian path, that's what I mean by separating out, there's different kinds of Christians for me. There are the people who I consider to be true Christians who, walk their path and are not judging other people. At the same time, it's hard to not say to somebody, yeah, but look at this path is working for me. And I think it could work for you. And I know any path that we're on, if I'm on this pagan path and oh my goodness, I am getting so much out of this path and I just feel so much better and I totally get life in a new and exciting way that I didn't get before. Especially initially, you want to go, hey, everybody, this path works and it's great. Just like, kind of a diet or weight loss pill that suddenly sheds the pounds. You want to share it with everybody. Hey, this works. So, and I think built into the Christian path is what am I trying to say? It's not ministry. When you send people out, my brain, I'm sorry, you guys. But I know you all know what I'm trying to say. When you send people, it kind of built in to a lot of, not only Mormons send their people out at a certain age, you give 2 years of service to go out and try to convince others that this is the right path for you. But other sects of Christianity do that also. And like anything, if something is working for you, you want to scream it out to the world that it works for everyone. Look at this, works for everyone. And unfortunately, part of the reason that I didn't like a lot of the Christian faiths is because it seems that the Bible, to me, inherently says this is the only path. And all right, let's be honest. We can say that the Bible says this is the only way to heaven. That's it. There is no other way. So, again, inherently, that path is going to lead to a point where even if Elyse wasn't, and I truly don't believe in watching that video that Elyse was trying to say, you all are going to hell, and how dare you, you silly people on the wrong path. I just think that she is excited about her new path and it works for her. And I'm so glad that she's found something that gives her peace. That's great. And I think, is this the only path that she'll be on? I don't know. I know for me, my path has changed a lot as I aged and grew more wise, or I don't know what the word is. Wise. I certainly don't feel like I'm a wise person, but more experienced in my life. That's, some pieces. That's why I chose to be an eclectic pagan, because I've talked before, like Gardenarian. There's some of the Gardenarian path that I'm like, no, you can keep that part. Thank you. And if somebody else finds the Gardenarian path is, their end-all be-all path, more power to them. Great. I just think it is hard because on an emotional level, I think we all see it as loss. We have lost Elyse on our path. And even if she, isn't shutting that door, we know that we're not going to have, the Elyse that we knew, so that's a loss. So I hope that Elyse understands sometimes our loss comes across as unacceptance and anger and hurt. And that just is the human experience, unfortunately. And I don't think anyone certainly on Elyse's side or on the other side, means to lash out and say, ugh. I just think that it's a product of, you can only react with all the baggage that you have behind you. Like, I cannot expect someone else to react to the same exact situation the way I react, because I am coming at this angle from everything that I have experienced and learned to this point. So my view on it is not going to be the same as someone else's, whose life experiences and things that they have learned in their life are very different. They're coming at it from this angle, and they can see around the corner maybe a little bit more than I can. Or I can see maybe a little bit lower into it than they can. Everybody is coming to the same situation from completely different paths, or from similar paths, but it'll never be exactly the same path. So we all need to just try to accept that not everyone is coming to this from the same angle. And I think the bottom line is that we loved Elyse, and we are losing her in this community as far as what we have expected to, what we had from her before. I'm really glad that she has found peace and happiness and acceptance, and that feeling of, I just close my eyes and think back to when I found this path, which was like, it was like a light bulb. It was like I had been living in the dark. And oh my gosh, how come nobody else knows about this? I'm the only one that gets that everybody else is in the dark, and I've got the thing. And we just have to remember that all unacceptance comes from pain. So I know I talked about Eckhart before, Eckhart Tolle. I love him. But he talks about all pain comes from the ego, and it comes from unacceptance of what is. So you accept this path, this place in life, this moment for what it is. And if you're having pain about it, it means you're not accepting that this is what is. And that's on all sides. That's on those of us who feel that loss. And I know I will admit that my first reaction was, oh, really? We lost her too? And again, that comes from that pain body that says, I don't want to lose her. And is she looking at me from a mirror now of unacceptance? And I don't want to feel that. So, but I feel that because I'm letting that in. I'm not accepting what is. And so if I accept what is, and I accept that Elyse has found this awesome path, that she has found this awesome acceptance and love and peace within, awesome. I hope that she continues to follow whatever path she needs to be on that leads her to peace. And I hope she continues to be the kind of Christian that I call a true Christian, which is to say, and she did say, that Jesus had everybody in his tent. And all his stories talk about having prostitutes wash his feet. And the crowd kind of, I could always picture that. The crowd goes, a prostitute is washing Jesus's feet. Oh my gosh. That, he let everybody in. And if you're that kind of Christian, you're the true Christian to me. And if that's where you're at, yay you. Go Christianity for you. I did not find my peace and acceptance on that path. But as long as you're not coming at me with what you do is evil, which again, I know that there was some, and it comes from a place of hurt, of feeling like she may have been saying to us, some of the stuff that you do is not so good. But try to come at it from where she's coming from, where that is a part of her belief system now, is that this stuff that she thought was going to bring her the peace and love and acceptance that she was seeking, she now is on this other path. That path, part of being on that path, says that was not what you were looking for, and that did not come from a good place. So it's hard to step back sometimes and say, okay, she didn't necessarily mean you are evil or what you are doing is evil, but again, it's that new car smell, that this is so great and everybody has to try this. So I hope that we'll be patient with each other and with ourselves and allow ourselves to grieve for what we perceive to be this loss. And I know that even Elyse, if you're listening, even the people who have reacted negatively, it comes from a place of pain, of loss. And I feel that anything that was perceived as maybe negative leaning in your video, same thing, it came from a place of love, of, guys, this is so cool, I want you to know this. And to me, I just accept that came from a good place, that didn't come from a place of judgment. At least that's not how I saw it. So I hope you all can have peace on your merry path, whatever merry path that is. And hopefully just love each other. Blessings to all.